だとしたらベアト、お前は無限の魔女。失格だな。
Ava really fucking fails as an endless witch.
今俺は漠然と思ったこと。どうして俺がお前とこんなおかしなゲームを延々と続けてるのか。
Because it's fun.
これは俺を屈服させるためのゲームじゃない。お前が本当の意味で無限の魔女に認められるための試験ではないのかってな。
知らぬ。わらわがそなたにゲームを申し込んでいるのは単なる暇つぶしだ。
And spend time with you.
誰の思惑でもないわ。
俺は今バルギリアからの魔女の定義を聞いた。それによるならばベアト、お前は魔女ですらない。その修行の途中で自らの力を誤解した見習いってことになる。これは魔女と人間の戦いのはずならば、魔女でないお前にわかるな。
わらわが見習い風情だと申す。ならばわらわはいつそなたの対戦相手だと再び認められるのか。
He legitimately just said no.
いつこのゲームを再開できるというのか。
さあな、それは少なくとも今じゃない。お前が俺の言った話をちゃんと理解できて、俺はお前を再びゲームの対戦相手だと認めるだろうよ。
そのような抽象的な言い方ではわからぬ。
Oh my god.
どうすればお前の許しを超えるのか、はっきりと聞かせよ。
You should. I can't tell you how to do that. That's not how forgiveness works.
いいや、
It's not a script.
あとはお前が考えろ。俺が言いたいのは以上だ。理解ができないならワルギリアやロノウェに相談してみろ。お前みたいなガキンチョはまず大人の言葉に耳を傾けるところから始めやがれ。ワルギリア、ゲームは一度中断する。ロノウェが代行を降りた以上、あとはベアトが対局者としてふさわしい資格を持つのを待つしかない。
了解しました。
God, we're getting like no actual mysteries here.
ベアトがその資格を得たと認められるまでゲームを対局者不在のまま進行させます。ベアトもそれでよろしいですね。
異論はない。わらわは時間とゆっくり考えられる場所が欲しい。これにて席を外してもらう。
No, you're not allowed to do that.
ああ、いいぜ。
また
待て、そうしょぼくれた顔すんな。
わらわは胸の内がすべて顔に出る勝利。
ならまだ構成の余地はあるってことだぜ。一つだけ約束する。俺はお前とのゲーム勝つかもしれないし、お前が戻ってこなけりゃ不戦勝ってこともあるだろうよ。
At that point, Battler stopped talking for a second. Then he spoke forcefully.
しかし絶対に俺からは降りない。お前を不戦勝にだけは絶対にしない。
Thank God.
お前が再び俺の好敵手としてそこに座るの。俺はずっとバトラ様。
ありがとう。わらわはきっとそなたに認められて戻ってくるぞ。
After showing a hopeful smile for a very short while, Beata vanished. After seeing her expression as she left, Battler was absolutely convinced that her face could tell no lies. What a weird little apprentice witch. The 7 survivors returned to the guest house once again. By now it was clear that those who went outside would not return alive. Rudolph's group had gone out with 2 guns and a master key, but those had been lost. Oh my god. It was already clear that those had been stolen by the culprit. Because the shutters were closed on the windows, they couldn't be opened even if the culprit had a master key. The front and back door that led outside were sealed by chains, and they were further blocked with sofas and tables. Well, the killer has to be inside here, if there is even one left. Even if the culprit decided to break through through violent means, it wouldn't be easy for them.
台風が今となってはむしろ幸いかもしれん。
そもそも台風でなかったなら午前中に船が来てた。
Yeah, really, we'd be already out of here.
それを不幸中の幸いと言えるかは微妙で。エヴァさん、体の具合はいかがですか？
Fine.
無理されないようにしてください。熱はまだ感じるけど、そういうことを言ってる場合じゃない。このためにも今は寝込んでる場合じゃない。
After crying so much in front of Hideyoshi's corpse, Eva had felt a strong self-awareness of her position as a mother, and her expression conveyed a strong will. In actual fact, her fever still hadn't gone down, and she was aware of that. If she didn't keep a strong hold on herself, she felt as though the fever would make her mind hazy again. By this point, the first floor formed a final line of defense set up by Kraus, Natsu, and Eva. The children and the guest, Nanjo, had been strongly warned not to go downstairs without taking great care. If the culprit used a ladder or something, it probably wouldn't be impossible for them to attack from the 2nd floor. But it wouldn't be easy for them to break through the sturdy shutters from such an insecure position. The 2nd floor was relatively safe compared to the 1st. Battler and George had also wanted to remain on the 1st floor so that they could fight in the worst if the worst happened, but Eva had put a stop to that. In her mind, George was now the only member of her family. It seemed that she didn't even want to expose him to the danger of coming downstairs to the 1st floor. Cross and Natsu could understand that feeling. Also, a great deal of time had passed since the siege began. In the 2nd floor cousins' room, Battler, George, and Jessica sat dazed, and didn't even listen to the TV that had been left on. For a while, Nanjo had been with them and had tried to lend them words of encouragement. But when he realized that he might actually be having the opposite effect, he hid himself in his own room on the same 2nd floor. George kept looking dazed at the photographs inserted in his notebook. It was from the time he had taken a vacation to Okinawa with Shannon. Shannon's happy smile was contained in those photos. Flashback? Hey, flashback. George could remember the temperature and the humidity, the warmth and the strength of the wind. And even when he had been talking about with her at the time that those photos had been taken, as clearly as though it had been yesterday. So to George, they weren't simply photos, but a door to bring back warm memories. In this room, even though the sound of the typhoon and the TV should have entered George's hearing, it was the scenery of Okinawa he had seen with her and her laughing voice that reached his eyes and ears. George had tried to be reborn after meeting Shannon. He had sworn to separate himself from the timid person he had once been, easily caught up in the atmosphere, unable to refuse a request, and easily used by those around him. He had resolved himself to become a strong man who could make her life more joyous. Therefore, if he hadn't met Shannon, the man who called Ushirimiya George would probably have lived a very different life. And George, who of that different life, surely wouldn't have been an excellent man as he is now. The person I am now exists for Shannon's sake. Now that Shannon is gone, why do I exist? It's completely meaningless, isn't it? He felt a deep, deep sadness, as though he himself had become empty. That feeling must have been tormenting him this whole time. However, until Battler mentioned it, he hadn't been aware of the feeling himself. He'd finally managed to remember that it should have been alright for him to cry much, much more. So he cried. Just like Battler had, he cried himself dry. By now his eyes were bright red and swollen and he couldn't cry anymore. So George did his best to change his way of thinking. He was not meaningless now, and he should be grateful to Shannon for giving him such a character. The dead don't come back to life. He would have to get over being separated from his most beloved person. If he were to chase after Shannon and kill himself, she would surely be deeply dejected. It worked the other way around too. If he had died and Shannon had chased after him, throwing away her own life, he wouldn't have been able to forgive himself. So he chose to suppress his sadness and anger, and decided to thank her instead. After meeting Shannon, she made his days rich and full, and taught him the meaning of working hard for other people's sakes. As a result, she had shaped him into the kind person he had wanted to be. He wanted to thank her for that. He tried to quell his sadness in this way, but each time he did, he remembered Shannon's smile. He understood it logically. He knew that grieving any more than this would only make her grieve in heaven. But that didn't bring a stop to his sadness.
なんで人が死ぬってのはよ、こんなに悲しいんだろうな。
Oh my god, you go into the psychology of death, you'll know. Jesus Christ. That's a deep-ass question. Can't answer it here. Battler muttered. It was as though he was speaking on behalf of all humans. His question probably hadn't been directed at anyone, but Jessica answered.
別れはどんな形でも。でもそれが、例えば老いであるとか、あらかじめ約束されていて、いつか訪れる別れであると分かっている者は、その悲しみを長い時間をかけてあらかじめ薄めておくことができる。それを許されないから、突然の不幸は悲しいんだろうよ。
なるほどな。そりゃ病気にでもかかって何年も昏睡状態になってりゃ、少しずつ心の整理もついてくだろうけど。
I'll disagree with that. I mean, yeah, you'll be able to, like, know, oh, that's, like, you can theoretically prepare for it, but until you actually experience what it is like to lose someone, nothing will ever prepare you for it. Because it's just, no matter, like, how ready you may be for it, always in the back of your mind, it's like, oh, no, they'll get better. That's just how it works. Nah, that's just how the hospital works, right? You know, all that bullshit. And that, no matter how much you, quote, prepare for it, you'll never be ready for it.
ある日突然じゃ、その暇もねえもんな。
本来なら、数年をかけて薄めるべき悲しみが一度に押し寄せる。そりゃ辛いわけさ。時には人の生涯に傷を残すほど深い悲しみを与えることもあるかもしれない。
Any death can. That's how death
生涯に
works.
傷を残すほどか。
Because it never goes away, it can't be fixed.
じいさまのオカルト趣味もさ、そうささやかれてたんだよな。例のベアトリーチェって愛人を大昔に亡くして、それが悲しくて悲しくて立ち直れなくて。
It sounds like she fucking killed herself.
それで死者を蘇らせるためのオカルトの研究にそうささやかれてた。
Probably.
だとしたら じいさまは最後の土壇場でその奇跡を成し遂げたな。犯人は蘇ったベアトリーチェで、じいさまは殺される瞬間に再会できたってことになるぜ。自分で蘇らせて、それに殺されるとは皮肉な話さ。
それでもおじいさまは会えたんだろうね。人生の半分を落としてもう一度会いたいと願った女性に、わずかなひとときとはいえ再会できたんだろうね。
Yeah.
丸焼きにされちまったけどな。人生の半分をかけた研究にしてはちょいと割の合わない成果だろうぜ。
You can't measure it.
そんなことはないよ。たとえほんのひとときであったとしても、愛した女性に再会できたおじいさまは幸せだったはずさ。仮に生命の摂理に逆らった罪を神に咎められて、その身を焼かれ地獄に落とされたとしても、その見返りの再会がほんのわずかな時間だったとしてもね。
ジョージ兄さん、
神の怒りに触れてこの身を焼かれようとも構わない。わずかな時間でもいいからシャノンを再び蘇らせてくれるなら、僕は残りの人生すべてをおじいさまと同じ研究に捧げるよ。
I don't recommend it because it really fucks over everyone else in the family as well.
5分でいいからシャノンともう一度言葉を交わしたい。1分でもいいから、それと引き換えに全ての人生を捧げても。
Yeah, but it doesn't stop with just Kenzo. That's the problem. If it stopped with Kenzo, it's like, yeah, whatever, it's self-contained. But it's extending to 13 other people that didn't agree to this premise. That's the problem with it.
兄貴。
When Battler and Jessica realized that their pointless discussion was causing George pain, they could do nothing more than shut their mouths. George directed his thoughts to Kenzo's life. He sacrificed half his life to research that no one understood. And on the last day of his life, he revived the person he loved most and probably succeeded in his reunion in his final moments. George didn't know how much time they'd had together. Didn't know if they had been given an hour or just 5 minutes. However, that moment must have been enough to reward him for all of those months of research. Even though he spent dozens of years to achieve it, that small amount of time was probably more than worth it to him. Until today, I never believed in the occult or magic or anything. Somewhere in my heart, I even made fun of grandfather's research, thinking it was nothing more than a pastime. No, it's pretty tragic. However, I won't make fun of it anymore. No, to the contrary, I'll believe strongly that it's real. If the power of belief can create miracles, I'll probably throw all of my studies up until today, spending the rest of my life from today onward studying magic. Give me the power of magic, and give me a miracle that'll let me see Shannon again.
ごめんよみんな。僕もどうかしてる。魔法で死者が蘇るくらいだったら世界中の人々が魔法を学ぶだろうね。でも現実にはそんなことはない。
Well, that's the thing with reality, it's coming to terms with loss.
誰も学ばない。死者が魔法では蘇らないって知っているから。
It's also why we try to preserve our lives as long as possible.
ごめんよ。妙なことを言い出して。僕のせいでおかしな空気になっちゃったね。みんなだって辛いだろうに。気を使わせてごめん。
Even if I did it to divert myself from my sadness, maybe I did say something strange. If I keep talking about stuff that's so weird, I'm sure it won't do anything good for their sadness. But that doesn't mean I can bear this silence.
僕は下に行ってもう一杯コーヒーをもらってくる。
Get shot instantly. Well, that's tragic.
うちの母さん、コーヒーの入れ方にはこだわりがあるんだよ。みんなもおかわりはいるかい?
No, thank you. Battler and Jessica slightly shook their heads. Without pressing them any further, I took my mug and left the room. The shutters were all closed in the hallway, so the corridor was very dim. I tried visiting Dr. Nandra's room asking if he wanted more coffee, but he said he didn't need any either. It seems my mother's orthodox method of making coffee isn't universally appreciated. One time I made some for Shannon, but she told me that while it was delicious, it was a little strong.
Shannon.
That's no good. Even though I left the room to change my mood, that image of Shannon's face filling my head wasn't fading in the slightest. I kept seeing those fun days with her more and more vividly, and it's saddening that I never even got a chance to see her dead face. According to our parents, she was apparently killed with something like a gun or a spear. I'm sure they were just trying to console me, but they had said her dead face had been very beautiful and peaceful. I wonder if she had the engagement ring I gave her last night on her finger. If she accepted my engagement, she would have had it on the ring finger on her left hand. Last night we were both on the edge of losing it and not calm at all. Shannon accepted my engagement pretty courageously, but she might have regretted that as a rash action once she cooled her head. She might have taken the ring off. I wonder if she has the ring on now. I want to be sure of it at least that much. Oh my god, you're not going over there to check. No, don't do it. I want to know how much she felt at the very end. How she felt at the very end. But even if I do confirm that, it doesn't mean she'll come back. Don't go. I wonder what will happen to her body. What do you mean? After that autopsy, it will probably be immediately cremated. Then I'll never be able to see her face, even her dead face, for all eternity. I mean, you don't necessarily need an autopsy. I mean, if they can clearly identify the cause of death, they don't necessarily need to do an autopsy. If everyone else died in a very similar way, then no, there's no need to it. And you can ask not to have an autopsy done on her. Especially if you're engaged to her. Probably. I don't want her body to be burned. If she was burned and turned to ash, never again will it be possible for her to revive her. They say cremation is frowned upon in Western traditions. It's frowned upon in some Christian traditions. I know that it's changed in some denominations of Christianity, but I know in others that it's still like, no, you can't do that. Because of the day of the resurrection, though, there would be no body to revive. I know it's changed in some. I don't know if all of them are changed, though. Because of that, it seems that great criminals in Western histories were often cremated after execution as a punishment, and their ashes were sometimes scattered in rivers and such. In other words, to Western people, death is nothing more than a sleep until resurrection. It is essential that the corpse is left after death. Oh, do they actually, like, cremate a lot of people in Japan? Now I understand. I understand why Grandfather idolized the Western occult. That was the only reason from the very beginning. Just to revive the person dear to him, Grandfather spent the rest of his life researching the Western occult. The situation surrounding us now is abnormal. Grandfather did revive his beloved Beatrice. And that Beatrice had carried out a terrible serial murder. With linked closed rooms that forced us to conclude that magic was used. The Golden Witch Beatrice, the incarnation of the miracle of the Western occult, and also the culprit who killed Shannon. She's an entity that I should hate, and yet, for some reason, I want to cling to her. I wonder if Shannon could be revived with the magic of miracles, which Grandfather bet his life on. According to the legend of the Ushirimiya family, Grandfather met with her long ago and was given a vast quantity of gold. Then, if I also met with her instead of gold, would she give me Shannon's life? As collateral, I don't care what sort of devil's contract she imposed. I wouldn't mind sacrificing all of my remaining life. George probably didn't believe or realize that his voiceless wish was heard by the witch herself, who stood right behind him. Beatrice had been listening to that entire discussion between the children just now in the cousin's room. Badler had told her that she didn't know the values of human life, and wanted to understand what in her that in her own way she had stealthily visited and listened in on their discussion.
それが願いだというのか。それを叶えればわらわは魔女だと
Oh my
認め
god.
られるのか。
Beato looked at the palms of both of her hands. She had handed over most of her once surging magical power when the new witch succeeded the name of the Endless Witch. Of course, her current power has still made her worthy of being called a witch, but it could not begin to compare to her previous strength.
無限の魔法などなくともわらわは千年に名を轟かす大魔女であるぞ。
Of course it has been.
死者を蘇らす造作もないこと。
Inside her head, she thought about several magical steps she would take to revive the dead. Even magic that she had been easy in the past would be difficult with her current power. She thought of something, then clicked her tongue, then did so again and over. In the end, she finally thought of a single spell. But that was a spell that she couldn't use by herself. It was a spell that witches with weak power used once that relied on the aid of others. In the past, Beato had looked down upon that type of magic. Therefore, she frantically tried to search for any conceivable alternative, but in the end, she couldn't think of one and slumped over in self-derision. Then, carefully not to surprise him, she softly called out, softly to George's heart. Oh my god, he's gonna fucking die now.
後ろ宮ジョージ、わらわの声が聞こえるか。
聞こえるとも。
What the fuck?
あなたは誰だい？本当に魔女のベアトリーチェ、それとも僕の悲しみが生んだ幻想なのか？
Both?
もしも前者だったなら僕の願いを聞いてほしい。そして後者なら僕をそっとしておいてほしい。
Their conversation in a mental world was a lot like having one in a dream. When you dream, haven't you ever had the experience of casually accepting something that would have been absurd in the real world? The conversation in this world was like that. So even though a witch appeared and started talking to George, he was not surprised.
わらわの黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェ。本来わらわとそなたこうして会話を交わすことなどできぬ。しかしそなたがわらわのことを強く意識し、こうして互いのチャンネルを合わせることができる。
シャノンを殺したのはあなたなのか？あなたを名乗る何者かの仕業なのか？ただあなたが本当の魔女として存在しているならばどんな対価にも応じる。僕の命を望むなら今すぐに捧げてもいい。どうかシャノンを生き返らせてほしい。それが無理ならせめてわずかの間話をさせてくれるだけでもいい。お願いだ。
対価はいらない。その身に
本当にシャノンを？
反言の魔法を扱うには今のわらわには魔力が足りない。だからそなたの手を借りねばならない。
僕にできることならどんなことでも、それが僕の心臓を今すぐこの場で取り出すことであったとしても。
Okay, calm
僕は
down
躊躇し
there.
ない。
Step off the gas, buddy.
そんなものいらぬというのにわらわは魔法を唱え、さすれば冥府の扉に隙間ができよう。